Disclaimer: Danny Sullivan is not a video game developer. I'm Araknie and I present to you today Danny Sullivan's Indy. They bought his name and he can't have it back forever. Maybe? This is a pure arcade racing game without much hint of simulation and to its benefit. So you can guess there is not a story and we will skip over that. Done. So, as you can see, this looks like a pretty basic isometric racer, but it has plenty of uniqueness to it. First of all, the controls are really fun. Since it's arcade, you get an analog stick and it works beautifully for this angle of movement. Just move it around and it's all about your skill. If you bump into walls, it's your fault, because it's all very precise, so you can get good at it with a bit of practice and patience. The fact that I managed to finish 2 loops on this and arrive first both times speaks wonders of what a player that sucks balls like me can do. Also, you get a stranger control, something like a pedal. Today you could accelerate gradually only with an analog trigger. This allowed for neat movement since it didn't need to use button 2 to brake so often. And with button 1 you use your turbo. But be careful, there is damage even if you don't get a damage bar. You still get visual hints of it. If you catch on fire, you slow down and have to pit, losing precious time. Because you've got to also manage fuel and the game will be so generous to suggest you when to pit for that. But yeah, a pit stops gets you the full treatment. And depending on the position from 1st to 5th, you get different amounts of points for the championship and money. The money is gonna be used between races for you to spend on different attributes. You got the usual stuff of these types of games, but also a couple original stats to boost not usually seen here, like a pit crew that gets better and faster the more you pump money into them. Also a fuel management that you as a driver learn you can go on for longer, while not sputtering all the time. What a fantastic idea for a game with fuel in it, something to make the whole system a bit more interesting while in game. Because you might get to do a whole lap more than your adversaries, or you can undercut them by taking it to the pits 1 lap earlier and then driving until the end for the rest of it, while the others stop a 2nd time. That's a lot of tactics for such a simple looking game, but there's still a little bit more. You can use the fact that you're pitting to make others end theirs earlier by bumping into them and force them to start. In a hilarious fashion, you'll know you've been successful by seeing the results of your action in the manner that your adversaries runs over one of their crew while unwillingly departing. Dark, but hilarious. Also, you can bump against others, and if you do it in the correct manner, you can cause them to catch on fire. Doing it to your direct rival will almost always cause for them to lose the race to you. You can easily pass 4 out of 5 of the others, but your rival is always Danny Sullivan and is very strong. Be careful about this move because going head first will make you catch on fire too, and that's gonna be trouble. The game doesn't have much else going on. It seems like a lot because the tracks are 15, but the game loops and ad libitum. There doesn't seem to be an ending or an extra special track you do for arriving first at the end of the league. It just doesn't stop. There's nothing, no credits. It's quite troubling for me because I dislike these infinite loops. I'm fine with loops if the game keeps adding until you get an actual ending like in some other cases. But here it feels like a bit of constant gameplay. Considering this was released in arcades, it seems to trick people into thinking they need to keep playing to get the credits. That's never gonna happen and people back then couldn't have known. I always judge games for the period they released in and this design is a detriment to it. Feels a bit like a scam. Keep playing, it's gonna be worth it, he says while the player pump quarters hoping for a nice finish. Heh, it's also an easy way to not have any credits for your developers. Not too good. Graphically it is very pleasing to the eyes and varied in locales, even if it was a pity there wasn't much animation. The art style of it also is quite generic, even if it manages to pump it full of details that I couldn't believe. It made playing it a 2nd time not such a bad idea since I noticed different ones from the first run. If you love miniatures, this has plenty of inspiration it can give you. So, see, it's not entirely without purpose. And at least it was done artfully and pretty masterfully in that regard. The soundtrack instead was making me smile of happiness all the time. They really managed to capture quite well that 80s race car movie soundtrack and TV shows all in one package. It's just perfect on that front. If I'm watching an 80s highlight reel about race cars, it's guaranteed that it's gonna have this kind of music in it. It's incredibly corny and that fits the arcade experience quite well. You need arcade games to be loud and distinctive, and these soundscapes certainly got my attention. So in conclusion, I gotta say that Danny Sullivan's Indy It gets a 7 out of 10. What it fumbles is really the ending, surprisingly. It's just missing that feeling of satisfaction that rewards all your efforts. I know that it was probably done this way because a single playthrough lasts only about 20 minutes, but I've played too many games to be impressed by loops anymore. If you wanna see me play the games that I will review plus some extra stuff, catch me on Twitch at Araknie Retro. It's my natural habitat, you see. Until next time, ciao ciao!